It's Monday night and we have so much to get to. York Hill campus was electric yesterday during the men's ice hockey team's contest with the second best team in the nation.
And men's soccer played in a rematch of last year's MAC championship game. We have Captain James Dorgan in studio a little later on.
And with all of the action on campus this past week, you're in for a treat with our top 5 plays of the week.
All this and so much more, Sports Bar starts right now.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all as excited to be tuned into Sports Paws as we are to be anchoring it. I'm Sierra Goodwill.
I'm Josh Silverman. Sierra, I'm happy to be here. The men's ice hockey team opened its season on the road Friday. The Bobcats look to start this season on a high note against number 13 ranked Boston College. My good friends MJ Baird and Kyle Lavasser have the story.
Friday night marked the third ever meeting between Quinnipiac and Boston College. Goaltending was fundamental to the two programs when they first met in the 2015-16 Frozen Four. 2 seasons later, it's just as important. The number 14 Bobcats featured Andrew Shortridge in net across the ice from the backup of the U.S. development team, Joseph Wohl. With off-season debate of who would start in net for the Bobcats, Shortridge impressed in the season opener.
I think it was excellent. I think it was great. You know, the penalty shot was big early on there. I'm still not quite sure exactly what happened, but that was a big save. He made a lot of big saves all night long, and even the goal he gave up, like it was just a bad bounce. It's one of those things that just skipped off somebody's skate, but I thought he was really good.
After 56 minutes of shutout play from Andrew Shortridge, too many men on the ice penalty sent Thomas Alderuth to the Quinnipiac penalty box, and BC took advantage.
I thought tonight's game a good battle of goaltenders. Kept it 1-1 and. Required a late power play goal from us. Good to say young freshman bury a puck there. But their kid played well in goal.
While Pecknold has not said if Shortridge will continue to start, the sophomore is focused on sharpening his craft.
I'm just working on all the little things I can for my game, just trying to get better, not only for myself but for my teammates.
Quinnipiac's next game is versus number 2 Boston University at home this Sunday. Reporting for Q30 Sports at Conte Forum, I'm Kyle Lavasser.
Great work there by MJ and Kyle. Sierra, the arena was packed this week. I saw a lot of people posting Sundays are for college hockey. I don't know if I'm agreeing with that one, but the people really seem to be happy that they were playing.
Definitely a different feel up on York this Sunday, so let's take a look at
how
they did on the ice.
They came to town, and Quinnipiac led the game late in the first period. They were already leading. They have the power play opportunity here. As you can see, they're spreading out the defense, really trying to get their shot. They're being very strategic about this one. And you know what? Sometimes here, the shots just don't fall. Right here, the slap shot, they get their own rebound. It does not go. But wait until you see what happens after this. Kevin Dwayne is taunting Jordan Greenway. What disrespect. That's Allen Iverson over Tyronn Lue right there. Wow. Second period, though, BU was not going to take that one. Patrick Harper picks it up. And Quinnipiac a little discombobulated. BU gets on the board. Score tied 1-1. Right now, Quinnipiac answers back. Bo Pieper 2-1. But BU was not done yet. They send the game into overtime. Here, I will have a feeling, I know for a fact we'll see this play later on. BU puts this game on ice. No pun intended there. BU wins this game 3-2. Here's Quinnipiac after the game.
I think it's just in the end, like we look at the 5, 6, 7 practices in, 2 games to open up against arguably the top 10 team in the country, and we'd like a little better result, but we were certainly in both games. And if for a balance here, a balance there, or a little better attention to details, we come out with a better result.
The latest USCHO.com poll came out this morning, and to some people's surprise, Quinnipiac dropped 3 spots to number 17. They were 14 last week after a loss to number 13. Tied to number 13 Boston College and forcing overtime with the second best team in the nation. Other ranked ECAC schools include Harvard at number 3 and Clarkson at 15. Quinnipiac's next opponent is Vermont, who is not in the top 20 but received 6 votes. The Rider women's soccer team has had Quinnipiac's number in the past few years. The Bobcats haven't been able to defeat the Bronx since 2013, so let's see if Quinnipiac could finally break that streak. This game was held at the Quinnipiac Turf Complex. Let's jump right into the first half where Quinnipiac was coming out attacking. Right here you'll see Nadia Gill driving, and what a strike right over the goalie's hands. Her 10th goal of the year to put Quinnipiac up 1-0.
She is so good, Sierra. She's such a dominant player.
Absolutely the staple of the offense. Now here's Jess Gargan off the crossbar. So close, but so far Quinnipiac still up 1-0. Now in the second half, once again, here is Gill putting the moves on the defender. She'll take a shot, but crossbar once again. The Bronx would tie this game 1-1 late in the second half to send it to overtime, and as if you haven't seen enough of number 10, she takes the shot, but it's saved by the Rider goalie. Overtime wasn't enough to decide this one. It is 1-1. Quinnipiac still not able to beat Rider in nearly 4 years. Now let's take a look at the MAC standings for the women's soccer team. They are currently sitting in 4th place with a 3-1-2 conference record. Undefeated Monmouth is, of course, number 1, followed by Manhattan and Siena. Quinnipiac takes on last place Iona this Wednesday. Josh, clearly a must-win game that can move the Bobcats all the way up to 2nd place.
It really is. We're getting to the heat of MAC play. Switching over to women's volleyball, Quinnipiac women's volleyball team entered Wednesday's matchup with Marist, looking to separate themselves from the middle of the pack in the MAC. The volleyball team tried. Any team without their top 3 players is bound to be set back. Bobcats were without Elizabeth Kloos, Jen Coffey, and Kat Miller when Marist came to town on Wednesday. Understandably, they fell behind without their core squad. Quinnipiac fell 3-0 and were handed its 3rd loss of the season. The loss put Quinnipiac back in the middle of the standings in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
And then Quinnipiac took on another tough opponent in Fairfield, so let's see how they fared. They were just taking a short stroll down the street to Fairfield, the Stags' most dominant team in the MAC, 7-0 in conference play. Let's head right into the first set. Quinnipiac begins a comeback right here with this back and forth rally. Quinnipiac needs a MAC win and is missing some players, like you said, but they're able to hang with it, and eventually you'll see here they get this point because Fairfield is called on a net infraction. So that will start a Bobcat comeback still in the first set. Now the game is tied, but Fairfield here will regain control on a dominant hit. And then sticking in the first set, you can see that Bobcats are on the brink of a set win, but Fairfield puts it out of reach with this kill. 25-23 Stags. Let's head to the second set now. Fairfield serves and Quinnipiac is able to handle it, but then Natalie Aleko into the net. Fairfield wins set 2, 25-12.
I wish I had those hops.
Into the third set now. Stags will finish off the Bobcats. A deflection off the hands here by Maria Pansari. Fairfield wins the set 3-0. Josh, I'm starting to think that maybe last year's success for the volleyball team was a little bit of a fluke.
Well, Sarah, let's consult our expert on that one. We're now going to welcome in Drew Feinberg, the women's volleyball beat reporter. Drew, you hydrated today?
Oh, I'm absolutely hydrated. You
ready to go?
That. Oh, I'm always ready.
Excited. Drew, what are you taking away from the Bobcats weekend?
Well, you said it. It's injuries. This team is absolutely plagued with injuries right now. Kat Miller, Elizabeth Kloos, and Jen Coffey all out with injuries for the past 4 matches. They are the three of the top 4 offensive players for Quinnipiac thus far. 3 of them are in the top 4 kills on the team. Chris Saplinski said, though, however, that is a huge opportunity right now for freshmen to step up, and that's somewhat of what they did this weekend. We saw freshman setter Morgan Sherwin step in for Kat Miller to replace her slightly as the right outside hitter, and she had 7 kills versus Marist and 11 versus Fairfield, which is great as a freshman, considering Fairfield is the top team in the conference. Having 11 kills versus them is very impressive. Also, Michelle Cuervo has stepped in for the injured Jen Coffey, posting 6 kills and 3 digs in both games. She's looked very impressive, but like I said again, what I saw this weekend was a very injury-plagued team. Chris Saplinski did say that the injuries they're taking day to day, he wouldn't comment further on that, but with these players back, hopefully later on, it will lead to better results.
So, Drew, I alluded to it earlier, but do you think this team is a one-hit wonder?
It's tough to say. I don't think so. Considering the team was 3-28 just 2 seasons ago, this is definitely an improvement already. They were great last year, but just considering they were good last year, they aren't that bad this year. Considering they're 5-4 in the conference, much better than they were 2 years ago, more wins than they had total 2 years ago. I wouldn't consider them a one-year wonder. I think it's still early in the season in conference play, kind of, to say that. But I think the team is continuing to grow, and with the addition to assistant coach Chad Davis, he's done wonders for this team thus far. Chris Saplinski's also working with them, but I wouldn't say they're a one-year wonder at all.
Drew, how are the injuries going to affect this team moving forward?
Oh, there's no question that if Miller, Kluse, and Coffey are out for more games, then this will definitely affect the team. They're like I said, three of the best, if not the best, offensive players on the team. Without them, they were swept by Marist and Fairfield, arguably the two best teams in the conference. And if they made it to the tournament, then if they face teams like this and the injuries were still plaguing the team, then it's definitely going to negatively affect the team going forward, like we did see the past 2 games.
You said we're in the thick of MAC play, but where do you see the team at the end of the season?
Well, they're in the middle of the pack right now, but I think they won't have a problem making the tournament. The only problem is once they're in the tournament, what will they do? If they are still plagued by injury and they have to keep the squad that they have been playing with for the past few matches, I don't see them getting past teams like Niagara, Marist, or Fairfield. Like we saw, they lost all 3 of those matches versus those 3 teams with the injuries. But I think they would have no problem going forward, making the tournament. It's just where they will end up after that is what I don't know yet.
Drew, it's always a pleasure when our paths cross. Sierra, my little brother Brian Schwartz is on deck with men's soccer captain James Dory. And the Quinnipiac field hockey team took on a familiar foe this past weekend. Stick around, Sports Paws isn't going anywhere.
Hello, and tonight on Sandwich News, we will determine what makes a good sandwich and a bad sandwich. First, the standard sandwich. Uninspired, and frankly, a little gross. But we have here a Ray and Mike sandwich, the Cadillac of sandwiches. And if you want one, well,
come on down to Ray and Mike's at 3030 Whitney Ave, Hamden, Connecticut. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. QCash is accepted.
now that's a sandwich.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning After. Coming up on #that, we talk about some fun events around Quinnipiac's campus.
And we talk about some weird news that's been discussed around Twitter.
All that and more, we are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Sports Paws is brought to you by Custom Cakes by Steve. If you can dream it, we can bake it.
Thanks for hanging around with us on Sports Paws. And before we get to our live interview with James Doig, we need to fill you on how the men's soccer team fared this past week. It was a rematch of the 2016 MAC Championship game on Wednesday between Quinnipiac and Ryder. So let's see if the Bobcats could get some revenge against the Bronx. This one took place in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. Let's head right to the first half, where Jose Aguinaga for the Bronx intercepts Math Rockenbucher's pass on defense. And initially, the first shot, William Pastari is able to kick the ball away. However, Elliot Atmani gets that loose ball and finds the back of the net. Bronx take the lead 1-0. But even better than this goal, Josh, look at this celebration. That is
I'm all about it. Serious
choreography. They've definitely done that before. But let's stay later in the first half. A free kick by the Bobcats. Looks like Dolly might have a little scoring chance here, but good defense by the Bronx, able to keep the lead 1-0. And in the second half, Atmani will get the ball back here, a wide open net. He scores his second of the game. Ryder wins 2-0. Quinnipiac falls to 1-2 in the MAC.
After falling to the Ryder Bronx 2-0, the men's soccer team recovered and rallied back to beat the Canisius Golden Crafts 3-0. Matthew Taylor got things started early for the Bobcats, and William Pastari and Rashawn Daly followed suit, each notching a goal in the game. Quinnipiac's defense held strong, incredibly strong, Sierra, limiting Canisius to only 4 shots. On top of that, only one of those shots was on goal. That's phenomenal. An absolutely impressive win for the Bobcat squad after a disappointing loss to Ryder.
Definitely.
And now Brian Schwartz, try not to get us confused, is in the piazza with midfielder James Doig. Brian?
James Doig.
All right, thanks guys. I'm here with James Doig, one of the most decorated players in Quinnipiac men's soccer history. James, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Good. All right, so coming off a 3-0 win against
Right there, first gonna shout out Tyrell, shout out Derek, and his baked goods.
So 3-0 win over Canisius. It's been a struggle so far scoring. What changed in that game?
We came together. It's something that we knew from the start. From the first game up until the St. Joe's, we were struggling to get shots off on goal, and it's something we worked on through practice and continued, and yeah, it's something that we continue to work on.
So you have 2 games this weekend, Iona and Manhattan, 2 teams at the upper echelon of the MAC. What do you have to do this weekend to get 2 big wins?
I think it's key for us not to concede early. I'm sure that you've seen from the games, when we concede early, straight away for any team, you're chasing the game. We've done that in a lot of games, and it shows in our most recent game that we attacked to start off. We held the possession, the pressure, and scored the early goal. And instead of chasing the game, then we were leading the game, and then we had control over the game. So I think that's key for us.
So your 5th year in the program now.
The 5th year, yeah, part of the furniture.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So what has changed since your freshman year to now on and off the field?
I mean, the sort of culture of the team doesn't change. That's something that the coach implements every single year. No matter the different players and different personnel, obviously, in the locker room, you get slight changes, obviously, when you lose players, but someone else will step up. But yeah, overall, apart from individual players, the culture and everything usually stays the same. The way we play stays the same. Once again, it's something that you notice every year with us.
So you talked about that culture.
Yeah.
Do you think you guys have that winning culture to win the MAC this year?
I hope so. I mean, culture's huge. Yeah, it's about how the team gets along. It's more than that though. It's about how you retaliate to certain games, defeats, wins, how you get over things. And we've got a lot of players that sort of share the same mentality, and I think that's key for us, and that will be key moving forward. So yeah, I think it's important, and I think we've got it.
All right, James, thank you for joining me.
Okay.
All right, let's send it back to you guys.
Thank you. Wait there first. Mum, I love you.
Thanks, guys. The Quinnipiac field hockey team traveled to Providence, which, Sierra, just happens to be where the Big East tournament will be held on Friday, a Big East matchup, one the Bobcats needed to win to stay atop the conference standings. Quinnipiac had struggled coming back in games, and Friday's matchup was no different. After a scoreless first half, the Flyers got out to a 2-0 lead. Quinnipiac tried to rally back and got on the scoreboard thanks to a Lauren Belsky goal, but ultimately couldn't get another one to reach the back of the cage. The loss dropped Quinnipiac to 2-2 in the Big East standings, not where they want to be. And later on, they took on Siena, a loss that Becker main squad. They looked to rebound when Siena came to town on Sunday. Quinnipiac has continuously dominated the Saints. In fact, they won the last 16 times they played them. Got out to a hot start, and the Bobcats, well, the Saints got out to a hot start against the Bobcats, but there's no quit in the home team. Quinnipiac rallied back on its senior day, totaling 3 goals in the second half while shutting down Siena's offensive attack to win 3-2. Quinnipiac will hope the momentum from Sunday's victory will carry into conference play when it travels to Old Dominion this Friday in a matchup that can very well determine which teams make the Big East tournament.
And Central Washington University traveled to Hamden on Saturday to take on the Quinnipiac rugby team in an NIRA championship rematch game. The Bobcats looked to stay perfect on their new home field, but didn't have the start they were looking for. Quinnipiac got down 10-0 early, cut it to a 1-score game 3 separate times, but ultimately the Bobcats weren't able to climb out of the hole and lost 31-22. This was just the 5th loss in 3 years for the Quinnipiac rugby team. And after the loss, Q30 Sports put out a poll on its Twitter account. We asked our followers whether or not they thought the rugby team would three-peat as national champions. The majority said yes, 62%, as opposed to 38% who said no. Josh, I think that Becky Carlson would agree with the results of this poll, as she has full confidence in her team moving forward.
Sarah, I just think it's crazy that the poll is about a three-peat. I mean, this team has accomplished so much.
Absolutely.
But it's time for a quick break. The show is flying by.
But we still have so much to cover. Women's ice hockey highlights and the most anticipated segment of the week. Don't move a muscle. We'll be back soon.
Coming up on #that, we talk about some fun events around Quinnipiac's campus.
And we talk about some weird news that's been discussed around Twitter.
All that and more, we are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Whether you're on the quad, in your room,
or heading to class,
tune in to Q30 News.
For stories by student journalists you can trust.
We are covering the latest here on campus and in surrounding areas. Get the news you need to know every Wednesday night.
Hello, and tonight on Sandwich News, we will determine what makes a good sandwich and a bad sandwich. First, the standard sandwich. Uninspired, and frankly, a little gross. But we have here a Ray and Mike sandwich, the Cadillac of sandwiches. And if you want one, well,
come on down to Ray and Mike's at 3030 Whitney Ave, Hamden, Connecticut. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Qcash is accepted.
now that's a sandwich.
Here are a few words from our sponsors. Sports Paws is brought to you by the Custom Cakes by Steve. If you can dream it, we can bake it. We're back here on Sports Paws. Josh, what's teed up next for us?
Sarah, there's still a ton to cover, and let's keep it going with the women's ice hockey team. The Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team traveled to Providence on Friday to take on the Friars. Providence dominated the game early and often, as it scored just minutes into the game. Oh, and we got footage of it. And right there, Quinnipiac able to get on the board. Second period, here we go. Quinnipiac, oh, what a save. They were not able to get, oh, they scored. I'm sorry, I missed that one. And here they go. What a celebration by the group. Abby Ives, what a goalie. Look at her. That's one save there, Sierra. We're going to keep it going. Here's another save. And yet another. Oh my gosh, she had a great game. She kept it going for the Bobcats. She's an important player for them moving forward. You see, the UCHO.com women's hockey poll was updated today, and Quinnipiac was left off the list. The Bobcats split their home and away series with Providence this past weekend. This is now the second straight week Quinnipiac was left off the UCHO poll. However, I should mention Quinnipiac is ranked 7th in the Paraguay standings due to their strength of schedule.
This past weekend, the women's golf team competed in the Yale Fall Invitational. After the first day, the Bobcats found themselves in 14th out of 15 teams. Clearly not where they expected to be after winning their first 2 tournaments of the season. Quinnipiac remained second to last after the second day, but the final day of the Invitational was canceled.
And the Quinnipiac cross-country team participated in the New England Championship. The Bobcats placed 13 out of 27 teams that entered the race. Q30's own Ryan Ansel, Sierra's couple classes with us, ran away from the competition, placing 13th overall. The 13th place showing for Quinnipiac is the best for them since 2014.
And the dominant women's tennis program played its first MAC match on Saturday against Rider. And I don't think there's any question about who came out on top. This team has been undefeated in conference play for 4 years now. Freshman Peyton Bradley helped the Bobcats to a 7-0 win with 2 victories in both her singles and doubles competition. The reigning MAC champs host Sacred Heart on Thursday.
Sierra, it's now time to recognize the best moments of this past week in Quinnipiac athletics, a time that's highly anticipated by all of us.
I have been chomping at the bit awaiting this segment, Josh, and let's get it rolling. I will start it off with number 5, women's hockey versus Providence. Look at the hustle on this play. Quinnipiac able to backhand, bar down. Quinnipiac wins 1-0.
Number 4, men's soccer at Rider. Rider passing the sequence here. Leaves a QU defense scrambling, and the Bronx get their second goal of the game. Chris Yakovius a little out of position. Easy goal there for the Rider Bronx.
Number 3, we're going to show you the goal first, but this really isn't the number 3 play. What we're looking for here is what comes after the goal.
The celly.
The celly is just unreal here by Rider. Look at the assembly. They have practiced this. They have done this before. They all line up and bowling, and it's a strike.
I mean, you know your team, your program is successful when you have time to practice things like that. Right now, rain top, drop, shot. What a play right here by Fairfield. I don't even know what to say. What an amazing play by them.
Number 1, you said it. We knew we were going to see it again. A great effort by Quinnipiac to force this game into overtime, but Boston had the final laugh. An overtime game winner, 3-2.
That's it for tonight. Thank you for having some fun with us here on Sports Paws. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Q30 Sports.
And check us out on our website, q30tv.com. And also be sure to like our Facebook page at Q30 Sports, because our shows next week, Josh, we're going to be live streaming on our Facebook page. So for Josh Silverman and everyone behind the scenes who made this show possible, thank you. I'm Sierra Goodwill. Enjoy the rest of your week.